Hello and welcome to Web Relates. Today I'm educating myself by looking at the AskReddit subreddit, where Mage of No Renown has asked, what effects from COVID-19 and its pandemic are we still dealing with, even if everyday people don't necessarily realize it? Time-Space Anomaly says, a lot of small, local festivals, conventions and markets shut down. Couldn't have events for 2 years, so some places lost their venues or couldn't keep their budgets afloat, or lost volunteers and committee leaders. It especially sucks for niche communities that used to get together. Here Under Protest says, the hospital I work in instituted a hiring freeze when the lockdowns hit. At the same time, maybe 25% of my department rapid-fire quit or retired for several reasons. Today, half of the vacant positions either remain vacant or were eliminated entirely, and our workload went back to pre-COVID numbers maybe 2 years ago. We're tired, boss. The lab is only holding together through black humor and the knowledge of how much the patient needs our results. Susanna Bananarama, I feel like I've seen that username before, says, this weekend I worked as the only certified nurse assistant on the entire medical surgery floor, rooms 1 to 45. I even came in on my day off yesterday to help. They make me do the work of 4 people for the pay of 1, and still want me to answer call lights within 1 minute. I tell them to bite me, and I leave it on while I'm doing patient care, just to make a point. I also make sure to tell every patient how they short-staff us, and ask them to complain to corporate about it for me, because corporate doesn't give a crap about me or what I have to say, but maybe they'll care about the numerous complaints. Meanwhile, patients are bloody dying because the hospital prefers profits over people. If you have a loved one in any type of healthcare facility in America, go be their advocate as often as possible. But remember to be nice to the staff. We're barely holding it together, and we don't need you yelling at us because the facility doesn't want to pay workers. Trust me, we'd love more co-workers, and we're doing the best we can. Also hospital-related, Get Rid of Wires says, the public doesn't realize how burned out the medical system is. I'm a doc in my 60s, and every doc I know in my age range is looking to retire ASAP. There will continue to be an exodus of experienced physicians over the next decade, and some specialties are having a hard time filling that gap. Bucky Hermit says, I've noticed a dramatic decrease in the general quality of goods and products, even if prices have dramatically risen. Back when supply chains were an issue or trade was disrupted by COVID restrictions, I could understand. But now it looks like this will be a permanent thing, which sucks. Peppermint Biscuit has replied, I read that a lot of experienced, older factory workers quit during COVID and never went back, and a lot of expertise in running the machines properly was lost. I also heard my mechanic telling someone about how car parts made post-COVID fail at such a greater rate than they used to, so people are coming in with issues with their brand new cars. Tiny Firefighter says, I'm not sure if anyone else feels the same way, but my perception of time hasn't really returned back to normal since then. Wolf Chick says, I noticed something changed with my college students. Many of them spent nearly 2 years isolated as teenagers. Can't define it, and I think they will eventually define it in a way I can't. It affected socializing in a profound way. Dr. Spiders has replied, I'm also a prof. There were already a lot of negative trends, which I would attribute to social media addiction, helicopter parenting, and the pressure on K-12 schools to abandon standards. Students not socializing or communicating. Decreased academic skills. Increased learned helplessness and anxiety. A weird sense of entitlement somehow coupled with low self-worth. COVID accelerated it all, and I honestly think generative AI is going to destroy any vestiges of intellectual curiosity or critical thinking skills left. I can actually personally speak to this one a little bit, seeing as I've worked in a university. The college students who did their first years online during the COVID lockdown, many of them actually seem to write their reports better, maybe just more independently and get more sources, and maybe AI is coming into that. And yet they are also lacking these fundamental skills you expect people to have in the later years of their degree. And at the same time, these people can act shy a lot, but they also ask a lot of questions. And when you come to practical sessions, they have been some of the most exuberant and interested students I've had in a long time. That last point actually makes some sense, because they didn't have any practical sessions during COVID, so now when they get into them, they're really excited. Pine Tree says, people have forgotten how to act in public. Concert etiquette, for example, has gone downhill. Bad Wolf has replied, I've noticed a lot more people, of all ages, sitting in a public place watching videos on their phone at full volume with no headphones. I think some people just got so used to being stuck in their houses and have lost their sense of community. It's not like they're deliberately trying to annoy other people. I just think they've almost lost the ability to empathize that other people are there who maybe aren't particularly interested in hearing the oh no song from the Instagram video that they're watching 7 times in a row. Venus Project Advocate says, companies have gotten lazier. They don't respond to calls or run the heat. They raise their prices and refuse any sort of responsibility. Working with businesses is a little more dystopian than it was before the pandemic. Dumb But Stupid Baby says, I'm fat now and would like not to be. I can commiserate. I went up 10 kilograms during the lockdown and did not notice until afterwards. Big Bad Rhino Cow says, there's been a noticeable decline in quality from a number of places. One thing I can bring to mind is Steak and Shake. Before COVID, they operated as a sit-down restaurant where they'd seat you, take your order, and serve your food to your table. And it was like the only restaurant like that where you could eat for under $10. The food was very delicious, the burgers juicy and fries hot and fresh, and they were served on a plate. Now, however, it's worse than McDonald's. No human cashiers. You order at a kiosk, get your own drinks, pick a table to sit at, and wait 40 minutes to go pick up your food, and the burger tastes like it was microwaved, and the fries cold and stale tasting. I agree. KFC at least has just completely eliminated customer service. It's all completely a digital kiosk where you order from, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. Mork the One says, literally millions of cases of disability from post-viral syndrome. My wife has been in constant pain for 2 years. My buddy's sister has his physics doctorate and couldn't even remember the order of the days of the week for months afterwards. It's an enormous issue with no good answers, so it's just ignored. Cold Fire Baker says, as a family, we stopped going to restaurants during COVID, and we've never returned. Pre-COVID, we probably went 1 to 2 times a month. I'd imagine there are many others like us. Ditto haircuts. I learned to cut my boys' hair during COVID, and they now have no desire to return to a professional. We also got our dog during COVID, so I learned to cut her hair from the start. Basically missing economic activity. If not for COVID, we'd probably still eat at restaurants, still take our boys to get professional haircuts, and maybe take our dog to a groomer. Hey, maybe that's also a contributing factor to why some of these prices are going up at these places, because they're trying to make up for some perceived lost profit. G. Bruce says, manufacturing and shipping got more expensive, so companies had to raise prices. Those costs have gone back down to pre-pandemic rates, but the prices of the products have stayed high. This is the main reason why nearly every single large company has seen record profits this year and last year. Sobin says, this will get buried, but lockdowns wiped out my savings. I own a small store, and while I did not have to borrow to survive the lockdowns, all of my pension savings went to keeping all my employees paid, mortgage and all of their other bills. Even though the shop is doing great now, the prices for stock have risen 20%. To keep competing with the internet, my prices have only gone up 10%, driving my profits down. So we keep afloat, but the pension fund stays empty. It stings sometimes to hear people complaining about how expensive everything is and how much cheaper Amazon is. A lot of shopkeepers I know are even worse off. They had to borrow from family and friends. They did not go to the banks, who did not want to lend them anything anyway, so much of the stress is hidden away. Nobody talks about it because, in general, we, the shopkeepers, don't. We get embarrassed that we can't do it ourselves, that we need help, so that is something that is truly hidden. Noggin of Floggin says, there is a less liveliness in crowds nowadays. I can't explain it other than I went to concerts in 2019, and they felt different than today. It's like people are kinda going through the motions today compared to 5 years ago, where everything felt genuine. Okay, that was it for today. I think that was quite interesting. Maybe a lot of good points, and also maybe just a lot of negativity. Not sure yet. Something to think about. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great one. Cheers.